Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 10 Part 79 based on novel. So let's start. Purple gold light shot out from the Chaos Tower in all directions, illuminating and making the sea within 1,000 miles shimmer. The demonic chi in the sky that had been brought by the cosmic evil Devil King was swiftly forced back in the face of this light. Sunlight poured down from the sky once again. Chaos Master. The eyes of the Third Seat King's group hardened a little at this moment. Atop the Chaos Tower, an incomparably titanic figure slowly appeared from within the purple gold light. The figure expanded at a frightening speed. In the end, it also reached 100,000 feet in size. It was now just as big as the cosmic evil Devil King. Haha, to encounter such excitement the moment I come out. Looks like I have really good luck. The purple gold giant heartily chuckled at the heavens. His laughter was just like thunder. Huge waves rose on the surface of the sea, and even tornadoes seemed to have been formed because of his laughter. Humph! A low snort was emitted from the huge and sinister mouth of the cosmic evil Devil King. Demonic chi soared and blocked the overwhelming purple gold light. Evil creature, you are really tenacious. To think that you survived even in such a state. The Chaos Master looked at the cosmic evil Devil King and involuntarily shook his head. His tone appeared quite regretful. Back then, they had spent a great effort in order to seriously injure this cosmic evil Devil King. Only then were they able to suppress and seal it. He never imagined that it would manage to escape. If not for the tricks you people pulled back then, there was no telling just who would have lost. The cosmic evil Devil King's dark and solemn voice resounded over the sky. We can have another fight now if you aren't satisfied. The Chaos Master looked at the cosmic evil Devil King as astonishing battle intent rose from his titanic body. Ha ha, there is no need to hurry. We have plenty of opportunities. When the time comes, we do not have any intention of letting you off. The Third Seat King smilingly waved his hand and said. Although they currently had the numerical advantage, the cosmic evil Devil King had only just escaped from being suppressed, and had yet to regain its strength. It would be difficult for a victor to be decided if they were to fight. Hence, now was not the best time. At that time, I'm afraid that you will not have a second chance to hide. The Flame Master slowly said. Flame Master, it is not wise to make such conclusions now. The Fourth Seat King also smiled. However, his eyes were filled with an extremely sinister murderous desire. This time around, it is likely that you will be the ones who lose. Moreover, we will not allow you any chances to turn things around. This world will ultimately come under the control of us Yimo. I really wish to give it a try. The Spatial Master faintly smiled and said. Those silver eyes of his flickered with an icy silver luster. Both parties faced off while distinct powerful auras surged. They were all peak-level experts of this world. The countless lives on this plane were in the palm of their hands. You will have a chance, but it is better to wait for now. You wish for the Ice Master to completely recover, while we wish for the Heaven Seat King to be fully healed. At that time, let's settle the scores from back then. The Third Seat King glanced at Ying Huan. After which, he softly laughed, we have already achieved our aim this time around and will be taking our leave. He paused, before he continued, additionally, the Second World War can be considered to have begun. However, the ones who will lose this time will be you guys. Ha ha. The Third Seat King waved his sleeve after his laughter sounded, and monstrous demonic chi unfurled. It turned into a huge demonic chi vortex in the sky above them. As the vortex rotated, their bodies entered. The numerous Yimo below also charged over like locusts. The demonic chi vortex rotated rapidly. In the end, it quickly vanished. After the disappearance of the Yimo, the demonic chi that enveloped the area also quickly faded. Warm sunlight scattered down from the sky once again and shone onto the island. Lin Dong watched as the sky returned to its peaceful state and heaved a sigh in relief. He was aware that the reason a huge battle did not erupt today was because the Heaven Seat King and Second Seat King had not revealed themselves. Additionally, the cosmic evil Devil King had also yet to recover its fighting strength. Devil Prison naturally would not choose to start a war at such a time. Nevertheless, Lin Dong had a premonition that this day would not be far off in the future. The Chaos Master's giant body also quickly shrunk. After which, he turned into a 20 feet tall metal tower-like figure whose skin flickered with purple gold light. An indescribable strength emanated from him. In terms of physical body, it was likely that this Chaos Master could be considered the strongest in the world. Ha ha, thank you for your protection this time around. The Chaos Master looked at Lin Dong as he cupped his hands together and smilingly said. Lin Dong smiled bitterly and shook his head. I was of little help. With his current strength, he could only fight against experts within Devil Prison on the level of the 7-Seat King. Above them were experts like the 3rd-Seat King, who had experienced 3 reincarnation tribulations. Lin Dong was powerless against such individuals. It would be difficult for Lin Dong to intervene in situations like the previous face-off. This undoubtedly caused him to sigh inwardly. His strength was indeed insufficient in spite of his overwhelming hard work. Ying Huan involuntarily tightened her grip on Lin Dong's hand upon feeling the heaviness in his expression. The latter detected this and smiled at her. He would not easily give up no matter how difficult the situation was. By the side, the Flame Master, Spatial Master, and Chaos Master exchanged glances after witnessing this scene. Their expressions were a little strange. No one knew what they were thinking. Perhaps the Thunderbolt Master and Darkness Master will hurry over soon. The Flame Master looked at Ying Huan and said. Lin Dong was a little shocked. If even the Thunderbolt Master and Darkness Master came, it meant that other than the already dead Devouring Master, practically all of the 8 ancient masters would have gathered. Let's head to the island first, Lin Dong said. The Flame Masters group looked at Ying Huan upon hearing this. The latter nodded before pulling Lin Dong and rushing towards the island. The Flame Master trio glanced at the 2 figures. Their eyes flickered a little. Flame Master, what is this situation? The Spatial Master hesitated for a moment before asking. Looking at how Ying Huan was acting, her feelings towards Lin Dong were obviously not shallow. The Flame Master shook his head helplessly. The expression in his eyes were a little complicated as he said, she understands. He did not say anything else and shot forward. The Spatial Master and Chaos Master looked at each other and smiled bitterly before they quickly followed. Martial Gathering Island had turned into a state of complete chaos due to the earlier battle. Lin Dong's group directly entered a pavilion. Soon after, Qingtan and the leaders from the Heaven Wind Sea region followed. Other than Qingtan, however, the expressions of the others were filled with respect and fear as they looked at the group in the building. None of them dared to approach. Clearly, they had also witnessed the appearance of the Chaos Master earlier. Moreover, the auras from the others were just as strong as the Chaos Master. After some thought, they could vaguely guess something from the clues available. It was as though a storm was raging in their hearts. After all, these were the peak-level experts who were renowned since ancient times. The few people sat idly in the building while the others did not dare to approach. Lin Dong had no choice but to instruct Qingtan to serve everyone tea. After which, the building became a little quiet. Ying Huan sat beside Lin Dong. Her long icy blue hair fell along her narrow waist, while her pretty eyes stared at the ground. Her fingers gently played with a strand of hair, but she did not speak. No one knew what the Flame Master trio were thinking as they maintained their silence. Lin Dong could only laugh bitterly in his heart upon seeing this. All he could do was to allow this to continue. This silence continued for 2 hours, before Ying Huan slowly lifted her head. Her pretty eyes peered into the distance as she said, "They are here." The faint rumble of thunder was suddenly heard from afar after her voice sounded. Soon after, a bolt of lightning flashed across the sky. In the next instant, a figure had already appeared in the building. His appearance was that of the Thunderbolt Master. Soon after the Thunderbolt Master appeared, the originally bright sky suddenly turned to darkness, while Qingtan involuntarily let out a soft exclamation from her mouth. This darkness lasted for a single breath before Lin Dong's group turned their eyes towards an empty seat in the building. Unknowingly, a black armored figure was already lazily sitting in it. The latter lifted her unusually deep and pretty black eyes and scanned everyone. Finally, she paused on Ying Huan. Only then did a smile surface on her face. "Little junior sister, it has been a long time since we last saw each other. Did you miss senior sister?" Ying Huan glanced at the darkness master as ripples appeared within her icy blue eyes. She softly replied, "It is good that nothing has happened to senior sister. I am not fools like them. How could anything possibly happen to me?" The darkness master smilingly said. She glanced at Lin Dong by the side and surprise flashed across her eyes. "Not bad, little fellow. You actually reached the reincarnation stage. However, there is still a big gap between you and little junior sister. Back then, you swore. Senior sister." Ying Huan's crescent-like eyebrows bunched together. Her voice was slightly raised. "All right, I'll stop." The darkness master gracefully waved her hand. She turned towards the Flame Master. "The cosmic devil evil king has been rescued." The Flame Master nodded. "We were unprepared for their schemes. It seems that our planning was inferior to theirs." The Spatial Master said. "These fellows are still as cunning as ever. Originally, I wanted to probe where they are hiding. Instead, I ended up being used by them. They trapped me and used the opening to rescue the cosmic evil devil king." The Thunderbolt Master clenched his teeth and said, "You are always so reckless. It would be strange if nothing happened." The Darkness Master rolled her eyes and said. The Thunderbolt Master smiled in embarrassment upon hearing this. They have already rescued the cosmic evil devil king. Next, they will do all they can to aid the Heaven Seat King's recovery. The Flame Master slowly said. "If the Heaven Seat King manages to fully recover, I guess that the Second World War will officially begin." Everyone in the building became silent upon hearing the name Heaven Seat King. Wariness flitted across their eyes. Soon after, they suddenly turned towards Ying Huan. Ying Huan held a jade green cup in her hand. She gazed upon the pretty reflection on her tea. In the end, she sighed, and her faint voice reverberated within the building. "Let's activate the ancestral citadel." Ancestral citadel? As these three words began to spread within the building, the expressions of the Darkness Masters group became focused. Then, they turned their attention towards Ying Huan, before they hesitated for a moment and asked, "Are you sure about this?" Ying Huan nodded. "What is the ancestral citadel?" When Lin Dong saw their expressions, he felt a little uneasy in his heart as he quickly asked. Ying Huan lifted her pretty face. Then, she used her pretty icy blue eyes to look at Lin Dong before she smilingly said, "It is a citadel left behind by teacher. Your mental energy cultivation is currently at the Supreme Symbol Master level and you have yet to form a divine palace, am I right?" Lin Dong nodded. After one's mental energy reached his level, the next step will be to transform one's Niwen palace into a divine palace. Typically speaking, this was considered to be the peak mental energy cultivation level, and it was called the Divine Palace Master level. However, since the beginning of time, the number of people who managed to reach this level could be counted on one hand. Although Lin Dong was extremely talented in mental energy, he was still unable to transform his Niwen palace into a divine palace. Furthermore, he knew that this was going to be a very difficult step to take. "Are you planning to let him enter the ancestral citadel in order to form a divine palace?" The Darkness Master glanced at Lin Dong before speaking. "It's no mean feat to advance to that level. Amongst all of us, besides you, the rest of us are merely considered to be at the half step to Divine Palace Master level. He should be able to do so." Ying Huan said. "What would that ancestral citadel do to you?" Lin Dong stared at Ying Huan. He could sense that she was beating around the bush, and it seemed like she was intentionally avoiding this topic. The ancestral citadel has the divine effect of aiding one's training. Once the time is ripe, we will open it and allow the samsara stage experts in this world to enter it. Typically speaking, there will be a 30% chance that one will make a successful breakthrough. Ying Huan continued. Lin Dong frowned as he stared at Ying Huan. Meanwhile, the latter also used her icy blue pretty eyes to stare back at him. For some unknown reason, tensions were rising between the two of them. The Darkness Master involuntarily coughed softly after she saw both their demeanor. Then, she spoke towards Lindong, in a tone that suggested a deeper meaning. Lindong, there are some things in this world that you can only change if you possess sufficient strength. As of now, you do not possess sufficient strength. Entering the ancestral citadel will allow you to possess the qualifications. Is that so? Lindong did not look at the Darkness Master. Instead, he was only looking at Ying Huanhuan. Ying Huanhuan nodded gently before she said, "Trust me, all right? Entering the ancestral citadel will be beneficial to you." Lindong slowly withdrew his attention. After all, what more could he say at a juncture like this? "Yang, you should stop hiding. There are so many old friends here. Aren't you going to come out and greet us?" The spatial master stared at Lindong's body before he suddenly said. After his voice sounded, a warm light was promptly emitted from within Lindong's body, before Yang appeared in a flash. As he looked at the many familiar faces in front of him, he sighed emotionally before he shook his head helplessly. "Yang, we may need your help in order to open the ancestral citadel." Ying Huanhuan looked at Yang and said. Yang looked at Ying Huanhuan before his lips moved. However, in the end, he laughed bitterly before he nodded his head. When the Flame Master saw this, he coughed softly before he said, "Besides, the day the cosmic evil Devil King managed to escape, many other Yimo, who were being suppressed, also managed to do so. Currently, the chaotic demon sea is in chaos. Furthermore, it seems like the devil prison is no longer holding back. Just like what they said, it seems like the next world war has already begun. They are planning to take advantage of the chaos to tie us down." The spatial master fondled his chin, before a thoughtful glint flashed across his silver eyes. "Moreover, I constantly feel like they are working on something." The Flame Master and the rest nodded gently. There was a large number of Yimo and they were all extremely powerful. In fact, no single faction in the chaotic demon sea could stop them by themselves. Therefore, if these Yimo were allowed to roam around unchecked, it would likely lead to heavy casualties in the chaotic demon sea. "Let's form an alliance within the chaotic demon sea." Lindong pondered for a moment before he suggested. If they did not band the many large factions in the chaotic demon sea together, it was likely that all the factions would be devoured separately by the Yimo. An alliance, huh? It is possible, however, it is going to be a little difficult to get it done. The Chaos Master nodded. One would definitely have to exhaust a great amount of effort in order to establish such a huge alliance. Clearly, they were unable to do so by themselves. We do not need to establish an alliance by ourselves. There is a top faction in the chaotic demon sea called the Flame Divine Hall. Its current hall chief is also the owner of the blazing ancestral symbol. Moreover, the Flame Divine Hall is quite influential. Together with the threat from the Yimo, it would not be difficult to establish an alliance as long as we provide them with some guidance. Lindong continued. Given Tang Xinlian's leadership abilities, it was likely that she was the best candidate to handle the complicated task of running such a massive alliance. Of course, I might need a few of you to help out as well. After all, in the chaotic demon sea, there are numerous powerful factions and tribes with a long history and solid foundation. The most powerful tribe in the chaotic demon sea was not the human tribe. Instead, it was the sea demon tribe. Moreover, it was going to be an uphill battle to convince them to join the alliance. The sea demon tribe, it will be fine after I make a trip over there. I have a close relationship with the ancestors of the large clans within the sea demon tribe. The Chaos Master said. To begin with, the Chaos Master was from the sea giant clan within the sea demon tribe. Therefore, once he makes a move, it shouldn't be difficult to convince the sea demon tribe to join the alliance. Ying Huanhuan softly said. Lindong glanced at her and stopped speaking. Instead, he merely nodded his head. In that case, let's head to the Flame Divine Hall tomorrow. The Yimo have been on a rampage over the last 2 months and it is likely that the various large factions in the chaotic demon sea have suffered tremendously. Therefore, rounding them up at this moment will be much more effective. Lindong said. After the crowd heard this, none of them objected. Subsequently, everyone glanced at Ying Huan and Lin Dong before they left. Qingtan also hesitated for a moment upon seeing this. Finally, she left as well. In the blink of an eye, only the two of them were left in this huge building. Lin Dong looked at Ying Huan, who was lowering her head and refusing to talk, before he helplessly shook his head. Then, he suddenly stood up and it appeared as though he was about to leave. When she saw this, Ying Huan bit her lips before she clenched her hand tightly. Meanwhile, a horrible sensation emerged within her heart. However, Lin Dong did not leave in the end. Instead, he walked to the front of Ying Huan before he extended his hand and held her icy jade-like delicate small hand. Then, he exerted a little force and pulled her into his embrace. His arms were hugging her soft and delicate waist, while he buried his head gently within her cool icy blue long hair. "Have you regained your memory?" Lin Dong asked. The way she acted today was clearly a little different from her usual self. A little, therefore, I recognized them and recall certain things. Ying Huan hesitated for a moment before she said. Lin Dong nodded. It's no wonder she had an in-depth knowledge regarding certain matters from the ancient times. Don't worry. As of now, I am still Ying Huan. Ying Huan smiled. Clearly, she knew what Lin Dong was worried about. Regardless of what happens, don't lie to me. Can you do that, please? Lin Dong nodded. As he sniffed the faint fragrance that entered his nostrils, his arms continued to hug the person in his embrace. Meanwhile, his voice was a little hoarse as he said. Ying Huan also placed her face on his shoulder. Her breath struck Lin Dong's neck as she softly acknowledged. However, soon after, she muttered to herself in a voice that only she could hear, I do not wish to lie to you either. It was a long while later before Lin Dong finally left. After which, Ying Huan walked to the front of the building. Then, she used her pretty eyes to look at the darkened ocean. A sea breeze blew over and caused her long hair to flutter gently with the wind. Are you really going to let him enter the ancestral citadel? A voice was suddenly transmitted from behind her. She turned around and saw the darkness master leaning on a pillar. Meanwhile, the latter's delicate hands were wrapped around her chest, while her black pretty eyes were staring at Ying Huan. He needs to form the divine palace. Ying Huan said. If we want to open the ancestral citadel, we need at least 6 ancient masters to work together. Therefore, you must use the power that you have been suppressing. However, after you use that power, it is not going to be an easy task to suppress it once again. The Darkness Master said. In the past, your power was extremely frightening. However, it also froze all your emotions. Are you certain that you can continue to treat him in the same way once you regain your power? Ying Huan sat on a long bench. She folded her long legs, while her long icy blue hair scattered down, causing her to appear somewhat meek, I know. However, nothing is perfect in this world. The Devil Prison is definitely working on something. In fact, I can feel that the Heaven Seat King seems to be recovering quickly. The Darkness Master came to her side and sighed softly. She held her icy body and felt some heartache. This had been the case even since the ancient times. That heavy burden, which none of them could carry, had to land on this girl's soft shoulders. In fact, the Darkness Master recalled that many years ago, when she first met the latter was also a cute and lively little girl. However, the smile on that girl's face gradually disappeared. This was especially the case after Teacher told her that he was about to die, and that it was up to her to protect every life in this world. At that time, every single one of them realized that this girl had begun to freeze all her emotions in order to control her power. In reality, I am quite thankful to that little fellow. At the very least, he allowed you to experience emotions once again, the Darkness Master muttered. Do not tell him about this. Ying Huan said. Otherwise, given his character, there is no way he will enter the ancestral citadel. Even at a time like this, you are still thinking on his behalf. The Darkness Master said helplessly. Ying Huan leaned into the Darkness Master's embrace. Then, she said, actually, I know that he wants to surpass me. In that case, he can confidently ask me to stay behind him. What wishful thinking. The darkness master curled her lips. If it was really so simple to surpass little junior sister, why would teacher hand such a heavy burden to her? Ying Huan merely laughed gently. I believe in him. The darkness master was startled. She lowered her head to look at Ying Huan. Currently, the corner of the latter's lips were lifted into a warm and gentle arc. Meanwhile, her pretty eyes were exceptionally bright. He will do it. Within the building, there was unquestioning faith within that girl's soft voice. Lin Dong and the rest were prepared to leave on the morning of the next day. When they left the building, they realized that the leaders of the various factions in the Heaven Wind Sea region were all waiting outside. When they saw Lin Dong and the rest, they immediately circled around them. Young brother Lin Dong, currently the chaotic demon sea is still in chaos. In fact, it is rumored that certain sea regions were turned into a bloodbath by the Yimo. What will happen to our Heaven Wind Sea region once you leave? Ji Yu Tong was clearly being pushed forward as their representative. After all, up against this group of experts, who were clearly renowned individuals since the ancient times, the experts from the Heaven Wind Sea region all felt extremely pressured. Therefore, they did not dare to speak with them directly. Instead, they chose to speak to Lin Dong, whom they were a little more familiar with. Lin Dong involuntarily smiled upon hearing this. It seems like these fellows were all frightened by the Yimo. This was also a good thing. After all, if their emotions spread, it would aid the formation of an alliance. Clan leader Ji Yu, you can be rest assured that the Yimo will not dare to come to this sea region in the future. Moreover, we are going to the Flame Divine Hall to establish an alliance in the chaotic demon sea. Once that alliance is formed, there will no longer be a need to fear the Yimo. Lin Dong said. Alliance? Everyone's eyes widened upon hearing this. As of now, the Heaven Wind Sea region was in a precarious position and they clearly lacked the strength to protect themselves. Therefore, it would be extremely beneficial to them if an alliance was formed. All of you should send someone to the Flame Divine Hall after news of the alliance spread. At that time, the various large sea regions will establish a teleportation formation, and someone will come and help you guys if there is danger. Lin Dong smiled towards everyone. Then, silver light surfaced behind him before they wrapped around his group. Therefore, all of you should just wait for the good news. That silver light gradually became brighter. Right after Lin Dong uttered his final sentence, he and his group vanished, leaving behind a group of stunned leaders from the Heaven Wind Sea region. Flame Divine Hall. There was a fiery red figure seated on the leader seat in the large hall. At this moment, there were many people in this large hall. Meanwhile, people continuously streamed in and reported various intel to the higher authorities. Tang Xinlian was seated elegantly. Perhaps it was because she was not leading an army at this moment and she was dressed in a red long dress, she appeared a little meek at this moment. In fact, she did not look like a cool heroine. As she listened to the various urgent reports, she began to knit her eyebrows slightly. The recent commotion in the chaotic demon sea had also affected her Flame Divine Hall. In fact, the sea region where their Flame Divine Hall was located, had also suffered attacks from numerous Yimo. However, with Qingji stationed in her Flame Divine Hall, it had also attracted many top experts and this allowed the strength of her Flame Divine Hall to soar. Moreover, thanks to her leadership abilities, though those invading Yimo were able to cause some chaos on the first day they arrived, they were subsequently blocked and stopped outside the sea region managed by the Flame Divine Hall. Nonetheless, though they managed to block the Yimo, those complicated military matters also caused Tang Xinlian to become a lot busier. Seated within the large hall, many orders were quickly issued from Tang Xinlian's small and moist red lips. After which, some of the elders in the large hall delivered her orders. People came and left. However, there was no sign of chaos. Elder Ling, some Yimo have appeared in the northern sea region. Based on the information that we received, they should number around 500 or so. Moreover, there is an Yimo general in command. You will lead 1,000 Flame Divine Guards and head over there to exterminate them. You can mobilize the Northern Sea Region Guards as you deem fit. After that final order was issued by Tang Xinlian, she flicked her finger before a fiery red order token landed in the hands of a green-cloaked old man. The latter immediately left after receiving it. After dealing with all these matters, Tang Xinlian finally heaved a gentle sigh of relief. Little Tang Tang is really capable. As your teacher, I feel assured to leave the Flame Divine Hall in your hands. Seated on the Grandmaster chair to the right of the large hall, Mo Luo was holding a teacup in his hand. Meanwhile, when he saw that Tang Xinlian was able to handle these matters in an orderly fashion, the smile on his face was as dazzling as a flower. Beside him, Qingji smiled and shook his head. It was fortunate that this fellow managed to find such an outstanding disciple. Otherwise, the Flame Divine Hall might have collapsed if he was the one running it. Tang Xinlian glanced at Mo Luo indifferently, and she completely ignored him. Forget it. Old Qing, let's go out and play chess. Mo Luo smiled awkwardly after he saw Tang Xinlian rolling her eyes. Subsequently, he called Qingji. Master, aren't you having a little too much time on your hands? If there is nothing for you to do, I can easily assign something to you. Tang Xinlian gritted her teeth and said coldly. Didn't you say that you will only ask me to make a move if something huge occurs? Mo Luo laughed dryly. Tang Xinlian snorted coldly. As their Flame Divine Hall grew, Mo Luo became increasingly proficient at pushing all matters related to it aside. When Mo Luo saw that Tang Xinlian was becoming increasingly angry, he did not dare to provoke her. Instead, he glanced at Qingji as he prepared to make his escape. Qingji smiled upon seeing this. He was just about to stand up when his expression suddenly changed. Then, he smilingly said, forget about it. There are some important guests coming to the Flame Divine Hall today. You should stay here obediently and welcome them. Important guests. Mo Luo and Tang Xinlian were startled upon hearing this. Right after Qingji spoke, the space within the Flame Divine Hall suddenly became distorted. Then, a resplendent silver light erupted. By the time that silver light scattered, a couple of figures had showed up within the large hall. Meanwhile, standing amongst them, the young man quickly smiled towards Mo Luo. You. Lin. Mo Luo was stunned when he saw that young man. However, even before he could speak, joy immediately surged onto Tang Xinlian's face as she said, Lin Dong. Elder Qingji, Elder Mo Luo, Miss Xinlian, it has been a while. Lin Dong looked at the trio in the large hall. Then, a smile appeared on his face as he cupped his hands together and said. Qingji and Mo Luo smiled. After which, with a grave expression in their eyes, they looked at the Flame Master and the rest, who were standing behind Lin Dong. If my guess is correct, the few of them should be the legendary ancient masters, am I right? Qingji said with a smile. Although during the ancient times, he was unqualified to speak with the Flame Master and the rest, he clearly knew about them. After all, other than those few extraordinary individuals, it was impossible to find others in this world who possessed such aura. Ancient masters? Mo Luo was startled. Currently, he had also advanced to the reincarnation stage. However, he was still unable to fathom the Flame Master and the rest. Soon after, he involuntarily smacked his lips. They were indeed worthy of being the direct disciples of the symbol ancestor. The Flame Masters group also smiled towards the Qingji duo. However, their attitude was neither submissive nor arrogant. Clearly, they did not act like haughty ancient masters. Little fellow, you have actually reached the reincarnation stage as well. Mo Luo suddenly noticed Lin Dong. Then, his expression changed abruptly as he exclaimed. I made a breakthrough not long ago. Lin Dong smilingly said. TSK, you are still as abnormal as always. Mo Luo clicked his tongue, while his face was filled with shock. He had trained for many years and he merely advanced to the reincarnation stage last year. However, who could have imagined that Lin Dong, who was merely at the profound death stage when he left, would have actually reached this stage as well? There is no need to compare yourself with him. It will only cause you to feel inferior. Qingji smilingly said. Then, his eyes swept across Lin Dong's body before he nodded. It seems like you have obtained the primal dragon bone. It's all thanks to Elder Qingji's introduction. Lin Dong replied. If Qingji did not ask him to head to the dragon tribe, it was likely going to be extremely difficult for him to obtain the primal dragon bone. It's all because of your own abilities. I have also coveted the primal dragon bone for a very long time, however, I was unable to succeed. Qingji shook his head and said. Lin Dong smiled. Currently, he was able to detect Qingji's strength. In fact, he should have passed 2 reincarnation tribulations, and was a lot stronger than when Lin Dong last saw him. It seems like Qingji's strength had also grown during the last 1 to 2 years. Lin Dong, have you really reached the reincarnation stage? Tang Xinlian ran down from the leader seat. Then, she stopped in front of Lin Dong before she began to observe him. Meanwhile, her pretty eyes held joy that could not be concealed. Beside him, Ying Huan glanced at the cool and enchanting Tang Xinlian, who was wearing a red dress. After which, she glanced at Lin Dong with a half-smile. Lin Dong involuntarily laughed dryly after he saw this. Immediately, he nodded towards Tang Xinlian before he began to introduce the people behind him. Ha, may I know why all of you came to the Flame Divine Hall? Mo Luo was curious as he asked involuntarily. After all, this lineup even caused someone like him to be taken aback. It should be related to the commotion caused by the Yimo in the chaotic demon sea recently, am I right? Tang Xinlian smiled. With a brilliant smile on her face, she glanced at Lin Dong and said, if my guess is correct, you are planning to ask our Flame Divine Hall to gather the many factions in the chaotic demon sea and form an alliance in order to oppose the Yimo, am I right? Clever. Lin Dong lifted his thumb. The Yimo are far too powerful and just a single faction alone cannot stop them. If we allow them to continue their rampage, the chaotic demon sea will definitely suffer great losses. Hence, we want to ask the Flame Divine Hall to gather the factions and form an alliance in order to fight the Yimo in the chaotic demon sea. Alliance? Mo Luo was startled. He fondled his chin and said, although our Flame Divine Hall is quite influential, not everyone will submit to us. This is because there are many other powerful factions in the chaotic demon sea. They will help us to convince those factions. Lin Dong pointed towards the Flame Masters group, who were standing behind him, before he said. Mo Luo hesitated for a moment. After which, he glanced at Tang Xinlian and said, you should ask this girl. Right now, she is the Hall Chief of the Flame Divine Hall. Lin Dong was speechless. It seems like this fellow was getting increasingly proficient at pushing away his responsibilities. In fact, he had even handed the position of Hall Chief to Tang Xinlian. Lin Dong turned and looked at Tang Xinlian. Meanwhile, the latter was also looking at him. However, her bright enchanting and pretty eyes caused him to feel a little guilty. He quickly smiled and said, what does Miss Xinlian think? If we form an alliance, we should be able to stop the Yimo in the chaotic demon sea. However, it does not seem like our Flame Divine Hall will stand to benefit. Currently, we are able to protect ourselves against the Yimo. Tang Xinlian used her jade-like hand to support her elbow. After which, she lifted her somewhat snow-white sharp chin and smilingly said. Lin Dong was stunned. She was only thinking about herself even at a moment like this. This seemed a little inappropriate. After all, given Tang Xinlian's intellect, there was no way she wouldn't know what kind of great disaster it would be if these Yimo were allowed to continue their rampage. Miss Tang is joking with you. Ying Huan said. Upon hearing this, Lin Dong finally saw the teasing expression on the corner of Tang Xinlian's lips. Promptly, he shook his head helplessly. Do you not know how I am as a person by now? Tang Xinlian glanced at Lin Dong. After which, she turned her eyes towards Ying Huan. Then, she extended her small delicate hand before she laughed casually. You Ying Huan? I heard Lin Dong mentioning about you before. In fact, I once asked him which one of us is prettier. Lin Dong's body stiffened almost instantly. He was stunned as he stared at Tang Xinlian, who had a cunning expression in her eyes. Is that so? Ying Huan gave a faint smile and asked, what was his answer? This video will end here.